Whoa, thanks for tuning into this webinar. My name is Andrew Rugg, and I'm the Bean Counter. I'm so sorry. I had a webinar last week, and I actually couldn't figure out how to get the recording in order. So this is sort of a re-recording of the same content that was in the webinar for any of you that missed it. Some people, a few of you had some technical difficulties, so you should be able to watch back through this and get all the information that you missed out on. So the name of this webinar is How to Lock in a Summer Internship in 2 weeks or less. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about me. I'm going to talk about the two different types of internships that are out there, how you should be thinking about them, and what the differences are. The strategies to get in the door. We're going to walk you through step by step exactly what you need to do. And I'm going to be giving away some stuff to anybody that, obviously at the webinar that came there, they got it. But if you're going to listen to this, I'm going to give you some links on exactly how to get the information. You'll actually be able to see that below this video if you're on YouTube, or if you're looking at this on the Bean Counter blog, it'll be in this blog post. And then I also did some Q&A, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those Q&A questions. But to get the full view of the Q&A, I answered about over 50 questions. You really got to come to these live webinars. I get a ton of questions. I'll answer your question live on the show if you answer it. So the next one's coming up actually just in a few weeks here. So be on the lookout for that on Facebook and on the Bean Counter blog. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Oklahoma, unfortunately. Nobody from the webinar was from Oklahoma. But if you are, you know what I mean. But I lived there for most of my childhood, but I bounced around quite a bit. I also lived in New York, Jersey. I spent 2 years in Costa Rica, and I finally ended up at the University of Tampa for my undergrad. I also went, when I was there, to a PwC Summer Leadership Adventure, or Summer Leadership Conference. A lot of the larger accounting firms do that. And I did an internship. And then I went back to the University of Tampa after my PwC internship, had that full-time offer in hand, and I did my Master's of Accounting at the University of Tampa. During that time, I worked also at Cott Corporation, which is a large public company. I worked in their accounting department, did a bunch of random accounting, IT, and finance projects during my master's degree, really just to get some experience, make a little bit of money. I bought a house during that time because I was able to work during my master's. Great experience, and I kind of got a year under my belt of working, in an office environment before I started full-time at PwC, which really let me to just sort of hit the ground running. And while I was in my master's and working at Cott, I passed the CPA exam. So I had a lot on my plate, and I recommend other people to really try and pass the CPA exam before they start. If any of you are interested, you should go check out Rogers CPA Review. I work a lot with them on a lot of the promotions that we do. They've got a lot of great deals for students. Roger's a phenomenal guy. He's just a great lecturer all around. So check it out, rogerscpareview.com. MyCube Singapore, that was an internship I did after I finished my master's at the University of Tampa. Went to Singapore for, I think, about 2 months. Lived there and worked for a startup company, a startup technology company. And that's where I sort of got the buzz for entrepreneurship and sort of led into the Bean Counter a few years later. I started at PwC full-time shortly after that. I worked there for a few years. And then I left PwC to work for myself, started the Bean Counter and another company called 10 Key Heroes. And that's why we're here today. I started the Bean Counter to help young people in accounting, people in university, and just graduate succeed, whether that be finding a job, getting promoted, working on new projects, leaving the industry to start their own, venture, whatever the case may be. I've done a lot of things, and I'm here to provide as much advice as I can. And hey, when I don't have the advice, I bring a lot of other people on the show and on the podcast to give that advice to you. Obviously, I've never been a partner in public accounting, but we've got that as well. So tonight, we're going to talk about the two types of internships that are out there. I break them out for accounting into two categories. And accounting is sort of like a cult, I tell people. It's very, very specific. This may not be the same for nursing or, for marketing or finance. And I don't know about all these fields. I don't know the best way for people to go and find a job in all these different fields. But I do know the best way in accounting. And it really depends on where you're at. And the difference between a resume builder and a career launcher, in a resume builder, you're probably a freshman, sophomore, a junior, and you're getting an internship where it's probably not a place where you want to work after you graduate. It might be a little tiny company, that just has, 20 or 30 employees, and you really want to work at a big company, or maybe just a larger company than that, but you want to get some experience. So you'll really take anything to get some experience and build up that resume. This tends to be a private company, and they could be paid or unpaid, although most accounting internships are paid once you are in college. But that's what I'm talking about when I say a resume builder. When I say a career launcher, I'm talking about a company you want to work for when you graduate. When you do this internship, your hope is that at the end of this internship, that company is going to be dropping a full-time offer on the table and you are going to be working there for the next few years. These are almost always paid, and they're for senior master students. Sometimes you get junior if you're really a top junior, and firm really wants to pick you up before a lot of the other firms have had a chance to get at you. You can get it. These can be a private company as well, but a lot of these are the top 100 public accounting firms for people in accounting. I'm a huge advocate of going into public accounting first. They say that in public accounting, it's like dog years versus private accounting. It's 3 to 4 years of experience in private accounting is equal to about a year in public accounting. So I'm a huge advocate of people starting out there. And then, not even close. I mean, most people that start in public accounting obviously leave to go do other things. It's like a pyramid. Very few people make it to partner. And so there's all sorts of things you can do after that, but it's a great place to start your career. When we did this webinar live, about 60% of the people wanted a career launcher and about 40% of the people wanted a resume builder. So I went ahead and covered a little bit about both. We did a polling question, and that's how I sort of figured it out. But either way, the strategy is going to be very similar. Really, the big difference is going to be the companies that you're targeting, the type of company you're targeting. So now we're going to get into the meat of this presentation. This is really the strategy, the action plan associated with finding this summer internship, or really any internship down the road. And I'm going to walk you through how to make a list of companies, how to make a list of jobs. Those are two different things. I don't want you just applying for open job positions. I also want you targeting companies that don't have any open positions posted. That's very important. You actually have a better chance at finding a job reaching out to a company that doesn't have a job posted than you do of having a job posted. Why is that the case? Well, think about it this way. If a company has a job posted, they're already looking at hundreds of candidates. It's very hard to compete in that environment. If you reach out to a company that hasn't even posted a job, they're not looking at any candidates. You're the only email they might have seen today or even this week. So you're one person in a sea, and they're probably hiring, and they're probably looking to hire someone who's good. So if you end up catching their eye, bam, it can just be done, and you can skip having to compete with the 100 other people. So it's kind of something that not a lot of people know, and it runs a little counterintuitive. You think, oh, but they don't have a job posting. It lowered my chances. No, that's completely wrong. It's the opposite. You're going to be sending an email, cover letter, and resume. I'm going to actually show you the exact email to send, and by the end of this video, I'm going to give you the copy paste. It's going to be yours now that you can use when you go through this process. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to follow up, how often you should be following up. So companies. I want you to put together a list of about 20 companies. Again, I don't care if they have a job posting or not, just 20 companies that you're interested in. Obviously, you can look at the career fair, friends and family. Those are the obvious things you should do. I'm not going to be talking about that on this video. The two things I am going to be talking about are business journals, and I'm going to show you that. We're actually going to go into the browser here in a second, and state CPA societies. I'm going to show you about that. So let's go into business journals right now. And the way I did this was, and I've got the link in the description to all of the resources for this video. So go ahead and check that out there, or if you're on the Bean Counter blog, in this post, you'll see the link for these business directories. So here is what I want you to pay attention to. This is the businessjournals.com. They basically have little news organizations for every major city. And I use Tampa as an example. I'm very familiar with Tampa. I used to live there. That's where I went to university. So let's just click on Tampa, but you can see any of these other major cities are great. You click on Tampa, and they've got a listing of all the companies sort of broken out into categories, accounting, advertising, business services, so on and so forth. So if you click on accounting, this is where I would start. You can actually look at any of these, because if you're looking for an internship, you might not mind working for a law firm. You can go legal. You might not mind working for a hospital or a doctor's office, healthcare. You can look at these others if you're interested. But accounting, they're obviously going to be hiring some accounting internships. And they've literally got just A to Z, tons of listings of all of these different accounting firms. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on one here, Alvarez Company, PA, CPA firm. This is great because you have all the addresses. You can see how far away they are from you in terms of commute. And they've also always got the link to the website. So you can go ahead and click on the website here. And then I almost always come to the website and I look for the contact information. Maybe on the Contact Us page, About Us page. It just depends on where it is. Let's go and check out the Contact Us page. Sometimes it just has a contact email. But in this case, we've actually got, the direct contacts. This is Alvarez and Company. We've got Jose Alvarez and Steven Alvarez. Boom. I'm going to be taking both of those emails, and that is going to be one of my target companies. Alvarez and Company. Got the address here, and I'm going to be emailing Jose. I'm going to be emailing Steven. I've got their emails here. That is how I would use the business journals to put together a list of companies. The other resource that I want to put together here, and it looks like I lost my page on the slides. Let's see if we can get through back over here. Okay, are the state CPA societies, and I'm going to show you how I use that. In the link to the description, we've also got a link to all of the state CPA societies. So any U.S. state that you're in has a state CPA society. They do events, they do CPE. It's great to get involved with for a variety of reasons. But I'm going to show you specifically why it's great for this process. If you click on Florida as an example, all of these state CPA societies have put together a list of all the CPA firms by county. So, depending upon where you are on the site, sometimes it's in this For the Public section, sometimes it's right here on the header, something that says Find a CPA or Directory of CPAs or something like that. Now, this isn't a listing of everyone who's got a CPA in the state of Florida. It's just a listing of specific firms in the area. And you see they've got all these different sortable, options that you can use. And so, the county that I used to be in was Hillsborough County, okay? So you click search, and I know that if I were still living in Tampa, Hillsborough County would be one of the counties I'd be interested in working in, and boom, 36 matches. You can go through here and do the exact same thing as on the business services. You click on A-Line. I know A-Line actually because I've had a podcast with them specifically, and I also know that Scott Price is actually the CEO of the company. So, not a bad person to email when you're going to be emailing to inquire about summer internships, because what's he going to do? He's going to say, oh, speak with our HR person. And you know what? When HR people get an email from the CEO, they pay attention. So, if you can't find someone from HR, you can only find the CEO. Email the CEO. I don't care. That's just email whoever you can find from the company. Ideally, I'd like you to go after the CEO or the COO, or in a public accounting firm, sometimes it's the managing partner or a partner. You can also go after HR as well. But this is how you're going to be finding companies. Again, I don't know if A-Line has posted a job. I don't know if Alvarez and Company has posted a job. I have no idea, and I don't even care. But I'm going to be reaching out asking, hey, could you guys use a summer intern this summer? I'm available. I'm an accounting student from this university, so on and so forth. We'll get into how to word this specific email. But this is really going to give you the best opportunity to get one of these firms. And you can go through and look at the addresses and make sure you pick some of the ones that are close to you, maybe 20, 30-minute drive or less. That is really the big thing I would do. That would be the first step. The second step I would do would be to go to career services at my university and look up the internships for the summer. Now, obviously, they've only got what they've got. I would also go to accountingfly.com. They've got a lot of great stuff at accountingfly.com. They're partnered with tons of large CPA firms. You should go out and fill out an account there regardless of this process or your future process. Go ahead and fill an account there, fill it out, upload your resume. They've got recruiters looking through there all the time for people. And then Craigslist. This is another one I wanted to walk through. This is huge for jobs because there's just so many accounting jobs that are being posted on Craigslist every day. It's insane. You wouldn't think. A lot of people think Craigslist, oh, there's that creepy personal section and that's it. Well, there's a lot of good information on there. And there's a lot of good job postings that come out. So again, I'm going to keep with our example, Florida. And I used this the other day on the webinar. So you can see I clicked on it, Tampa Bay area. Up here in the job section, accounting and finance. And then bam, look, April 4th, there's been 3 positions that are posted today. It's a Sunday. Isn't it a Sunday? What's the date? Yeah, it's April 5th. Okay, so they don't have any positions that are posted today. But yesterday on Saturday, there were 3 positions. On Friday, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 accounting positions. Just go through here for a week and just apply to these open positions. A lot of times people get nervous. They look in here and they're like, oh, I don't meet all the requirements. I don't care if you meet all the requirements. I want you applying for these positions. I want you going in here, looking, you'll see, okay, here's all the information, essential duties. Oh, required certifications, 2+ years of accounts payable. If you're an accounting student, you probably don't have 2 years of accounts payable. I don't care. You're applying for this position. It doesn't matter what they say. They don't know what they want. They just put this out there. If you don't meet the requirements, still apply for the position. You click on here and apply, reply by email. You can take this email right here, and that's who you're emailing. Sometimes they put a name or contact information, other times they don't. But I would go ahead and go through this for the week or 2 weeks that you're going to be going through this process, and bam, just apply to all these positions. There's so many that come out, and you can also look in other surrounding areas. So, I did Tampa Bay, but there might be another area near you. Don't just look at one. For example, Lakeland, I think, is about 30 minutes from Tampa. And so that might be something that if I was really wanting to get an internship, I'd look there as well. There could be some other jobs posted there too. So, take a look there. That is really going to be a great resource for you as you're going through finding actual jobs. Again, I don't think this gives you the best chance. I think the best chance is just reaching out directly to companies yourself. It shows you take initiative. You're not competing against hundreds of other people, but we want to take all avenues to make sure you get the best, to make sure you actually get a position. Okay, so let's get back into the slides here. So once you find these companies and once you find these positions, sometimes you're going to be applying in a database for the firm or the company or the career services center, and that's fine. You upload your resume, your cover letter, whatever. But if you're sending an email, which for most of these you will, if you're applying on Craigslist, if you're applying on career services, you might have an email of a company. And then obviously when you're finding all these companies, you're going to be sending in emails. My expectation is that most of the communications you'll have with potential companies will be in email. And I'm going to show you an email example, but it's important to remember that with every email, I want you attaching your resume and cover letter in separate PDF formats. Separate PDFs. I've got a lot of information on my site about resumes and cover letters. A lot of, if you buy any of the courses, pretty much have a resume and a cover letter example, template that you can use. And then obviously I do resume services myself where you can work with me directly and we can really make the best resume, cover letter, and action plan for you. But here we're going to walk through, and I'm going to read you the exact email that I would send. So here it is. Let's zoom in a little bit on this. So I've even got the subject lined out here, and I literally have written the email for you. Like, there's nothing else you have to do but start filling this out. Hello, Andrew. I'm writing you in hopes of finding the appropriate person to discuss an accounting summer internship or XXXXX position, whatever the position may be. If it makes sense to talk, how does your calendar look? I'm currently a student from the University of Tampa and will be graduating in the year you're graduating. I've attached my resume and cover letter for you to review. I'm eager to discuss the opportunities with Alvarez & Company. If you are the appropriate person to speak with, what does your calendar look like? If not, who do you recommend I talk to? Best regards, Andrew Argue, blah, blah, blah. Attach the cover letter and resume in separate PDFs. Bam. That is like the best email you can send. Most people that email accounting firms, they get about a 10-15% response rate, or private companies, whatever, 10-15% response rate on all the emails I send. If you send this email and you follow up in the way I teach you, you should get about a 75-80% response rate. That would be my guess. So let's get back into these slides. I would follow up every 3 business days, and I really wouldn't stop. I mean, if they get upset, so what? You were never going to work there anyway. But what you don't want to have is a situation where someone's busy, they didn't get a chance to read your email, and you didn't follow up that 5th time or that 6th time when they actually would have responded. Maybe they flagged it, but then they just never got back to it because they got 5 or 6 other emails. Don't stop following up. If you get a response and they say, hey, we're not interested, you're done. Move on. Go on to another company. Go on to another firm. But if you haven't heard back and you know that email is legitimate, you found it on the website, you're not getting one of those emails that says, oh, that email's incorrect, keep following up and don't stop. So in summary, you're going to put together a list of 20 companies, and you're going to put together a list of at least 20 jobs. You're going to send them an email, resume, and a cover letter, and you're going to be following up. And you just go through this process. And this really shouldn't take you that long. I mean, once you've got your resume and cover letter, you can bang this out with the research and everything, prepare the emails and draft on a weekend, and you can send all of them on Monday morning. And I would recommend doing that. Send them all on Monday or Tuesday morning around 8:30 in the morning. That way the first thing they see when they get into the office is an email from you. One of the problems people have when they run through this process is, oh, I found the website, but I can't find any of the key contacts. Well, sometimes it's on the job posting. Sometimes you got to go to the company website. Sometimes you can find it on LinkedIn, and other times you can find it on Google. I'm going to show you in a second, a document to help you through this whole process that has the email formatting for all of the top 25 accounting firms. So you can use that. So I've got the email format. So at BDO, it's first name dot last name. At EMY, it's the first initial of the first name and then last name, or whatever it is. I've got that for all the top 25 firms. But if you can find that on Google, then you can just add anybody's name in there. If you find them on LinkedIn, or if you find them on the job posting, so on and so forth. The most important thing at this stage is, look, I walked you through the process. You know what the 4 steps are. Now you need to get to work. By Monday, I did this webinar on, I think, a Tuesday, and I said to everybody there, I said, by Monday, you should apply for these 40 companies. There's really no excuse. I mean, what's more important? Is it more important to go out with your friends drinking on the weekend, or is it more important for you to lock in a summer internship so then you actually have money to go out and, do your drinking on the weekend for the whole summer? And, I mean, you have the time. You need to make the time. Quit going out to some social activities, skip a class, whatever you got to do to get this done in the next week. Everybody will be okay. The world's not going to end. Put this as a top priority in the next few days. If you're sending emails out on a Monday, by Thursday, you should already be following up. So you got to follow up every 3 days until you get a response. And when you send the first emails and you're following up, I always prefer to do it around 8 a.m., 8:30 in the morning. I like when these people get in around 8:30, 9 o'clock for you to be the first email they read. Most people get into the office, the first thing they do is check their email. Oh, nothing here. But oh wait, there is an email from you. And it's great in the morning because, by 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, people typically have 20, 30 emails. But at 8 o'clock in the morning, they might not have very many emails. They might have 1, 2, somebody who sent them late the night before. But if you send an email at 8:30, you may be one of the only emails in their inbox. And that's giving you a much better chance of getting that email read. Okay, so what I'm going to be giving you today is I'm going to be giving you an email template, which you saw earlier. I'm going to give you a firm tracking spreadsheet, a premium podcast, a 50-page ebook called The Interview, and some discounts for services with me and some of the courses that we have. And I put the link in the chat in the actual webinar, but the link is going to be below in the description of this video or on the blog post, so you can see it there. And then I went ahead and answered a bunch of questions for people. And a lot of the questions had to do with, this whole process that we were going through. People were asking, if I'm a little bit older, I'm probably 39, am I going to be able to get in one of these internships? And I said, absolutely. Some of the other questions were, what's the difference if I'm going to a career builder versus a resume builder versus a career launcher. And I didn't go through all of the differences here, but the main difference is going to be, if I am looking at a resume building internship, I'm going to be applying for private companies in the area. But if I am looking at a career launching internship, I'm going to be looking at probably the top 25, top 50 public accounting firms. And I'll show you those here. This is the document I gave everybody that came on the call. Again, you can find the link to this information in the notes to this show in the bottom of this video. But here, I'll show you this firm tracking spreadsheet. If you're looking at starting your career and you're like, Andrew, you know what? I want to go to an internship where at the end I get a full-time offer and it's done. And I want it to be one of the top 25 public accounting firms. Here's the top firms. These are the top 25 firms, and here's how their email is formatted. You've got access to this now by listening to this podcast. Rothstein Cass was purchased by KPMG, so it's no longer a standalone firm. But yeah, this basically gives you the information. You can also see here the websites of all these firms and a link to the location, so you can search to see when any of the locations are near you. So this is really helpful. But the big difference is that I would be looking at these companies for a career launcher. I'd be looking at just any accounting firm or any company near me for a resume builder. But the actual process of reaching out and everything is the same. You have a really good chance at getting a job with some of these firms if you're in Beta Alpha Psi, if you are going to the career fairs. But at this stage in the year, I'm doing this video in April 2015. In April, they've already hired for summer 2015. Okay. If you are looking for an internship with one of these top companies, typically you're going to be getting that internship 9, 10 months, 12 months in advance, not 2 or 3 months in advance. So at this point for this summer, I'd be looking for a resume builder, and then I would be looking for a full-time position. And a lot of people were asking, hey, Andrew, I'm graduating in December 2015. It's April 2015. I want to do a resume builder. Resume builder. I said, no, you don't. They said, I want to do a career launcher. I want to get an internship and find a full time. And I said, no, you don't. You want to do at this stage in the game a resume builder over the summer. And then as soon as you're done in the summer and you've got that last semester of school, you're going to hit the ground running and find a full-time position. Because you're not going to be able to find a great career launching internship over this summer. It's a little bit too late. So I want you to build that resume up a little bit more. And then in the fall, I want you to hit the ground running. I mean, every single person you can think of, every single company you can think of, I want you applying for a full-time position. And that's the way I would go about it. But if you have any other questions, again, I can't go over all of them. It's really for people that show up to the live webinars who get access to answer all the questions. That being said, I do answer questions via email, andrew@thebeancounter.com. Some of them I do feature on the blog if they're good or if they haven't really been asked before and I think it could be helpful for the rest of the audience. If I don't follow up and this is an urgent emergency question, all caps in the subject, urgent or emergency, and that'll greatly increase my chances of responding to you and answering. But email me over there. I'm more than happy to help you out. Whether it's about this webinar or this video specifically and the advice I gave and the steps, or if you've got another question about accounting and your career, I'm always looking to help out anyone who's interested. So again, thanks for watching this video. Andrew@thebeancounter.com. I look forward to talking with you soon.